traveling to the literal summit of Summit County, Colorado. The trails at Arapahoe Basin make for some of the steepest and most challenging mogul skiing in the country. And the challenge amongst the skiers is just as intense here at the Continental Divide, where the Budweiser Mogul Tour is getting set to crown a 1993 champion. Welcome to the top of the world. Arapahoe Basin, Colorado is the highest ski area in the United States, and it's only fitting that this has created the pinnacle of drama on the Budweiser Mogul Tour. Hello once again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the 8th and final regular season stop on the tour, and things could not be more dramatic. Just 1 point separates the top two positions in the overall tour point standings, with Chuck Martin leading Scott Hall by that single margin. So it will be Scott Hall and several other skiers going all out here in Arapahoe, trying to overtake Martin and win that title as they head to the World Championships. Right now, to tell you more about this competition, the attitude of the skiers, and this very tough slalom course, we go to my partner Duffy Wilson, standing somewhere at about the 13,000-foot level. Duffy?
Tim, this course literally takes your breath away. I'm standing at the top of Arapahoe Basin, the highest ski area in North America, well over 12,000 feet. Heck, at this altitude, pilots use oxygen, but our skiers, they'll be breathing the rarefied air of the Rocky Mountains. And that's one of the problems here at A-Basin. This is a very long course. It's over 900 feet long. And as they chase Chuck Martin, as you said, they're going to be chasing him down a very, very long course. And as they get to the bottom, they've been making all those turns. There's big air in the course as always, and they're going to start running out of steam. Their legs are going to get a little tired. They're going to start losing their turns, and they're going to do that bump and run to the finish. Last year, the biggest crashes we saw on the tour were here at the bottom of A-Basin. I think that slalom slope is going to be a great test for the Western National Championships on the Budweiser Mogul Tour, and I'm on my way down.
And as Duffy makes his way down the side of the slalom course, we'll give you a look at the real course here at Arapahoe Basin, Colorado. It's time now for our Dynastar vertical assault cam. This week strapped on to Canadian competitor Michel Forget. A great look at the skis tackling the big bumps. Today it was Michel Forget in actual competition. As we check out some of the preliminary round highlights here at A-Basin, in the round of 32, Forget taking on Justin Patnode. Watch Patnode on the right. He threw the beautiful helicopter. That's what he's known for, and he moves into the round of 16. Also in the round of 32, Scott Hall, ranked number 2 on the tour.
Go big or go home. He went big and he went home. 70 feet, but out of the competition.
It was Jeff Stoll who would advance past Hall into the next round. Dave Hill, the defending tour champion, has been struggling all season long, and here he had a little injury to insult.
Dave Hill has a bad left knee. It's been braced for some time, and Dave Hill was injured out of the competition.
Now, when we look at some of the highlights of the round of 16, we're looking at Chuck Martin, overall leader on the tour, wearing the head and shoulders above the rest bib, but he was eliminated by Canadian Greg Goodison. Goodison, skiing consistently, advances into the next round. Also eliminated in the round of 16 was Shane McConkey, the winner just last week in Copper Mountain. And Cameron Boyle won this duel with his opponent being disqualified despite this ugly crash after the second jump.
And that huge yard sale for Cameron Boyle sent him to the Valio medical tent.
The two-time tour champion is still in the draw, at least for now. We'll see what his condition is as we check out that quarterfinal draw. A pair of International competitors lead things off. Klaus Holm of Sweden, Greg Goodison of Canada. Then Scott Rawls takes on Scott Koff. Jeff Stowell will face Bob Dickey, and Robert Aldegheri will face Cameron Boyle, health permitting. We've got the quarterfinals and much more coming up. Stay with us.
The Budweiser Mogul Tour. Brought to you by Head & Shoulders, by Evian Natural Spring Water, and by Ford Trucks. Ford Trucks, the best never rests.
Welcome back to Arapahoe Basin, Colorado. ESPN's coverage of the Budweiser Mogul Tour's Western National Championships. Our first quarterfinal is set on the left course. 24-year-old Klaus Holm, originally from Sweden, now hails in Vail, Colorado. He'll be taking on the right course, another foreign competitor from Canada, 24-year-old Greg Goodison.
And Timmy, what's missing here, you know, we're talking about head-to-head competition, and Chuck Martin, the #1 skier, is gone. These are the guys that are at the top of the bracket. Goodison eliminated Chuck Martin. It's going to be Klaus Holm and Goodison. These guys have got a good chance for the finals.
Making their way out of the gate, the quarterfinals are underway. Holm on your left, Goodison on your right as they approach the top jump.
And I don't know what happened to Klaus Holm. He seemed to hang up above that first air. Klaus is down, he's moving, and Greg Goodison basically now gets himself a nice little look at the course as he looks back to Klaus.
Well, the sportsmanship in this sport, he makes sure Klaus is okay. Now he has the free ride to the bottom. Greg Goodison, a helicopter pilot by trade. Well, he doesn't do the helicopter maneuver there, but it doesn't matter as he sails across the finish line from Canada. Greg Goodison with an easy victory here. He'll advance into the semifinals. The scores will be a foregone conclusion. And Goodison gets 5-0 from every judge, winning in the shutout. Duffy, what happened to Klaus Holm?
Bad things happen to Klaus, skiing very well above the upper air. He gets hung up here, watch his upper body twist, and look out, Klaus has no choice but to take that air, and he has no chance at a landing.
And the quarterfinals now continue with two veterans of professional mogul skiing. That's a look at Scott Rawls, 33 years old, originally from Montana, now lives in Breckenridge, Colorado. He'll be taking on Scott Koff. Koff from Vail, Colorado, a 4-time World Professional Mogul Tour champion.
Two veterans of the tour. Scott Rawls will be skiing on your left, and Scott Koff will be on your right. Two big, strong skiers.
Rawls won an event earlier this year in Aspen, Colorado. It's been a few years since Scott Koff won an event, although he had a runner-up finish earlier this year in Sugarbush.
Rawls with a little double at the top. You could see him check his speed. There goes Scotty Koff down the middle of the course. Nice turns in the middle section here by both competitors. Koff looking very good, some short and sweet turns. He gets close to the red fence.
Well, Rawls is known to handle these tough courses, but he doesn't do it there.
And Rawls goes into the blue fence. I thought Koff was going to DQ first, but Koff gets to the finish line.
So Scott Koff will win this duel with another disqualification, 25-0 the score. And I mentioned, Duffy, that Rawls usually handles these tough courses. What happened?
He is a very strong skier, making great turns right here, skiing very well in the middle section of the course. This is one of those cases where one little mistake causes a big crash. You saw him right there get on his uphill ski, unable to get back into body position, get his skis on the snow. He's into the fence and off the course.
Credit that cameraman for staying cool under those conditions. We're set for our next quarterfinal. There on the right course, Bob Dickey, one of the steadiest skiers on this tour. He'll be taking on the surprise at this event, Jeff Stowell.
Red course ready. Blue course ready. Racers ready.
Jeff Stowell eliminated both Scott Hall and Shane McConkey to advance into the round of 16.
And Stowell looking very nice, a double spread. This will be his best result of the year. Nice turns in the middle section. Look at Dickey. Look at those knees working hard. Huge bumps here on slalom.
Bob Dickey already with two fourth-place finishes, a fifth and a sixth in this very successful season as he pulls the helicopter but goes down.
Dickey couldn't pull off that landing on that helicopter spread. He crashes, and Stowell should advance.
The Cinderella story continues with another 25-0 shutout. Dickey is disqualified, and Duffy, I'm a little surprised. I've never seen him try the helicopter.
Well, he usually does a triple at the bottom of the course, and I guess Bob was ready for this trick. He's probably practiced it. He goes up for a nice helicopter and a spread, but a lot of people have had trouble on the red course with that landing. Bob Dickey, another one of them. He blows up and is out of the competition.
So one steady competitor is out of this event. Another noted one as well, as a decision has now come from the Valio tent. Cameron Boyle has pulled out of this event.
Cameron Boyle sprained his left ankle in that bad crash that we saw in the recap of the early rounds. Cameron, hurting pretty bad here, has decided not to continue.
So the semifinals without Cameron Boyle look like this. Robert Aldegary will face Greg Goodison. Aldegary with the free ride. Scott Koff takes on Jeff Stowell. We've got the semifinals and the women's competition upcoming. The skiers are heading to the top. Stay with us. Welcome back to Arapahoe Basin, Colorado. We mentioned earlier about the thin air here at the 13,000-foot level, so it's either very fitting or very ironic that the Oxygen Cocktail team takes us on a tour around the mountain.
Thin air and harsh conditions translate into many layers of clothing. As we get set for the women's competition, let's watch skier Darian Boyle of the Mountain Goat team get ready.
Darian was hustling off to the Budweiser Mogul Tour's Paul Mitchell Women's Pro Mogul Series. Here we look at her in the semifinals with the great helicopter, but she had the tough task of facing the #1 seed, Susan DeBias, here in the semifinals. DeBias, smooth as silk. She advanced into the championship. Susan's rival all season long has been Patty Sherman, but Duffy Patty had problems earlier also in the semis.
She had the same problems that Cameron Boyle had, as Patty Sherman was out of the competition as she crashed below the lower jump.
The beneficiary of that Sherman crash is Nina Rahm. She advances into the championship. She will face Susan DeBias. DeBias once again in the finals. Duffy, we now look at Susan DeBias. She has won every event she's entered since turning professional a season ago. She'll be on the left course, 29 years old, from Winter Park, Colorado. There's Nina Rahm. Like Klaus Holm, who we saw earlier, she's originally from Sweden, now lives in Vail, Colorado.
Nina Rahm has got her work cut out for her. The reason is Susan DeBias is a very strong skier, and she has a great plan. She takes care off the air and makes great turns.
Susan DeBias, a product of the national team, missed the Olympics a season ago by 1 spot, making her way towards the first jump on the left course. Nina Rahm on the right with the spread eagle.
Nina Rahm really skiing a conservative run right now, and we see Susan DeBias. Look at those knees. She's got great lower body action right now, having a little trouble right there. She has to reach out with her pole to get herself back together.
Now heading towards the second jump, all sorts of trouble for Susan DeBias, more trouble than we've ever seen her have, but she has the decided advantage, and Nina Rahm has stopped temporarily.
Nina Rahm is out of this race, but Susan DeBias not skiing very well in this final. She had trouble below the lower jump, didn't even get much of an air.
So another easy run for Susan DeBias, 17-8 the score as she wins another event and the tour, as this is the final event this season for the women. We take a look at Nina's trouble.
Nina skied very conservatively, as you can see here, letting her tails down, but even that didn't get her handily to the bottom of the course as she goes out right there. And talk about trouble. Susan Tobias, the strongest woman skier on the tour. Look at that, a great recovery. She had problems, but she gets back up on her feet for a great win.
And another win for Susan Tobias as we check out the final standings. She defeats Nina Rahm, then Patty Sherman and Darian Boyle. And as we said, this was the final event of the Paul Mitchell Women's Pro Mogul Series, and Tobias takes the overall title, 3 points ahead of Patty Sherman, then Darian Boyle and Nina Rahm, the same 4. As we look at the back 4, Duffy Wilson is standing by with the successful and invincible Susan Tobias.
Susan Tobias, again, a winner on the tour. Winner here at A-Basin for Paul Mitchell. We've been doing this a lot, Susan. We should be pretty good at it. A great run by you.
Thanks. It certainly wasn't one of my better performances, but I got a little bit lucky too.
We talked about this before the competition. This is a very tough hill.
It was. Again, it was really steep and the ruts were pretty deep and the airs were really huge.
The airs were huge. You've won all 4 events this year. What's next?
Well, I've got to get on my bike and start training for the summer.
Susan Tobias, the tour champion for Paul Mitchell, and here at A-Basin, the event champ.
Thanks, Duffy, and congratulations to Susan Tobias. When we come back, we'll turn our attention back to the men. The semifinals are next. Tim Singer back here in Arapahoe Basin, Colorado. Coverage of the Budweiser Mogul Tour, where there is a surprise visitor in the finish area. She is nothing short of the most successful mogul skier in the world. She's with Duffy Wilson.
Thanks, Tim. Welcome back. I'd like to welcome back to competition very soon Olympic gold medalist Donna Weinbrecht from the U.S. freestyle team, joining us here at Arapahoe Basin to cheer on some teammates.
Oh, for sure. You know, Bob and Chuck and Sue Tobias, my girlfriend, and I just want to be here and support them in their change to amateur to pro.
And what we should talk about, too, is that knee injury. Injured your knee this year, out of competition. How's it going?
Actually, the rehab is going really well, and I can't wish for anything better than a year off and a break and to come back strong for Lillehammer. I see everything being positive out of it.
Yeah, I know all of us U.S. skiers wish for another Olympic gold in Lillehammer for Donna Weinbrecht. Thanks for joining us. Back to you, Tim.
And there's a look at one of Donna's teammates, one who she came to wish well, as she just mentioned, Robert Aldegary, as we get set for the semifinals. Aldegary, 27, originally from New Jersey, now lives in Colorado. He'll be facing Canadian competitor Greg Goodison, 24 years old, from the 1988 Olympic city of Calgary.
We haven't seen much of Robert Aldegary in the last few events. His best result was a second in Killington. Robert hasn't skied well, but here he is in the final 4.
Ready.
Aldegary, of course, a rookie on this tour. Greg Goodison joined the tour last year right here in Arapahoe Basin, Colorado, with an impressive debut 6th place performance.
A triple by Aldegary off the first jump. A good look right now in the middle section of the course. And look at Robert skiing that middle section. Great turns. He moves to the left side.
That bow on his hat flapping up and down as Aldegary makes his way towards the second jump with the Daffy Twister, the double maneuver as well by Goodison. But it is Aldegary working on those speed points all season long, quickly across the finish line ahead of Goodison. And on the blue course, by a 14-11 score, Robert Aldegary has eliminated Goodison, moving in to the championship here in A-Basin.
Robert Aldegary attacking this difficult course, and look at that double pole plants. You know, that's because of the steepness here. Aldegary holding himself back. Nice turns, a nice air, and a big win for Aldegary.
So Aldegary will face the winner of this final semifinal matchup. On the left, Scott Koff, 32 years old, as I mentioned earlier, a 4-time tour champion looking for his first event win in a couple of years. And there is the Cinderella story here in Colorado. Jeff Stoll, never better than a 15th place this season. He is now trying to get to the final.
Racers ready.
Koff on the left, Stoll on the right.
An even start. Tim Stoll skiing very well above the upper air. They both get doubles in. Koff with a little trouble in landing. Nice turns by Stoll.
Koff, a freestyle ski instructor. Stoll, a blackjack dealer in the offseason, will try to double down with the double maneuver down the course here.
As they come to the lower air, let's see if he gets it. It was a little rough, but Stoll on the ground. Very close matchup here.
A great duel. It is Scott Koff across the finish line first. He will get the speed judge. They, of course, judging turns, air, and the overall judge as well. And 4 out of the 5 judges give the nod to Scott Koff. He will move into the final. We take a look at Scott Koff with those veteran turns.
Scott Koff gave up the air judge. He lost air, didn't really care too much here. This is what Scott cared about. Look at that landing, upper body position, really squared to the hill, very quiet upper body, and look at the knees. Great turns, gets both turn judges and the overall.
Both Scott Koff and Robert Aldegheri have second place finishes this season. One of them will come away with a championship here in Arapahoe Basin. It is Scott Koff set to take on Robert Aldegheri for the Western National Championship of the Budweiser Mogul Tour. That and much more coming your way when we return. Tim Singer and Duffy Wilson back here in Arapahoe Basin, Colorado, reflecting on some great skiing here in the Rocky Mountains on the Budweiser Mogul Tour. The championship upcoming, but this duel is for third place. On the left, 29-year-old Jeff Stoll. On the right, 24-year-old Greg Goodison.
An even start. They get into their turns, and quickly up comes the first air. They both get a double, a twister for Goody and a spread twister for Stoll.
Both these competitors shooting for their best result of the season. In fact, regardless of what happens here as they take the second jump, it will be their best showing. This for third place. And across the finish line first is Jeff Stoll, Greg Goodison behind him.
I did not like the finish for Stoll right there. He kind of took it into the finish too quickly. Might lose a point from the overall judge, and he did, Timmy.
By a tight score, 13-12, Greg Goodison will take home the bronze medal. We are now set for the championship of the Budweiser Mogul Tour in Arapahoe Basin, Colorado. On the left, Robert Aldegheri. On your right, it is Scott Koff. Aldegheri, the rookie from last year's Olympic team, joining the pro ranks and the veteran of so many wars on this tour.
Chuck Martin, the only competitor to win 2, and here we go again. Neither one of these guys have won. We'll have another new champion. Aldegheri and Koff really jumps out on the red course. Nice triple by Koff, better that time than his last run. Look at those turns by Aldegheri, and he moves to the left side again. He's getting out of that middle line.
And Scott Koff on the right side has now stopped. He slows down and stops. He continues skiing, but it is the nice move by Aldegheri at the bottom, speeding down across the finish, winning this one in a cakewalk as far as the speed goes. We do not know yet what the judges have to say as Koff makes his way to the finish. It is by a 25 score, an easy victory for Robert Aldegheri as he captures his first event as a professional.
Robert Aldegheri chooses that outside line again. He goes to the left. And folks, when you talk about shock absorbers, watch Robert's knees here as he takes in those big bumps here. I hope we also get a chance to see those shock absorbers on his landing off the jump. As he's getting down to the jump, yeah, we're gonna get to see it. Watch this. Boom, he sucks it up, and he got a big win here at A-Basin.
Aldegheri becomes the first ever skier to win both a World Cup event and a professional event as he tops Scott Koff and Greg Goodison. As we look at some of the other results, Cameron Boyle ends up in 8th place, and it is Mike Rawls, the defending champ here in Arapahoe Basin, with a 15th place showing. But Duffy right now standing by with the winner.
Robert Aldegheri with his first championship here on the Mogul Tour. Robert, we talked early in the show about chasing Chuck Martin. You skied with him for a long time. You chased nobody here today.
Yeah, I skied pretty well, I think, today. I had 2 really, really good runs, I think, the beginning, the round of 32 and then 16. So I feel pretty good about it.
Robert, we've discussed all through the year about the World Cuppers coming in and making their mark, winning some events here. It took you a while. What was the difference?
Well, I think it's hard just to come on a venue like this, a tour like this, and be really consistent. Mogul skiing doesn't lend itself to consistency, somewhat like slalom skiing possibly on the World Cup. I was a little bit inconsistent at the beginning. I had some bad luck, but I just ski consistent today.
Congratulations to Robert Aldegheri. He is the Western National Champion for Budweiser on the Budweiser Mogul Tour.
And Bobby's good friend Chuck Martin retains the head and shoulders above the rest. Tour points lead ahead of Scott Hall with a 3-way tie for 3rd place. And as we check out the rest of the tour point standings, the action is tight as the skiers head to the final event in Heavenly Valley, California. That's where we'll be coming to you next. Until then, I'm Tim Singer. Thanks for joining us.
ski wear for the Bud Mogul Tour staff and crew, provided by Mountain Goat, for people who know where they're going and why. Lodging this week furnished by the Keystone Resort in Summit County, Colorado.